All right, hello again. Once again, this is another production of ARCHE's podcast where you guys get a chance to listen in on some conversations that I know you guys are all excited about. We're going to stick with the name The Well for now. I had some confirmation from Victor earlier today. It's a little bit about the whole water cooler stereotype in business, where you get to hang out with your friends, get a chance to blow some steam, and we called it The Well. But enough about that. More on this, more great stuff. I've never felt so comfortable and confident going to a podcast, actually. But we've got two incredible guests with us today. I can't talk. We have Brian right in front of me, junior at Brian over here on my right, junior at SMU, and Daniel right in front of me, another junior at A&M. How are you guys feeling today?
I'm pretty good.
Doing great.
All right. Well, very good, because we've got talking about missions today. A little bit more in-depth conversation for you guys, because you guys are, I would say, more seasoned, a little bit better at explaining a little bit of your experiences. So where have you guys been, and where are y'all planning on going? Anybody can take it from here.
All right, I'll start us off. So I went on missions pretty much every summer of high school. Went to Haiti twice, inner city Houston, and inner city Chicago. Last summer, after my freshman year of college, me and Daniel interned in Haiti for the whole summer. Went back over winter break to intern for 2 more weeks.
This is all in Haiti.
Wow. Yeah. And this upcoming Friday, I'm gonna be headed to the Dominican Republic to kind of do the
headed
same
to New
thing.
York City.
You?
We're going to New York before going to DR. So.
Wow.
Yeah,
I'm
we're
going
going to New
missions,
York,
so-
and then we're going for 2 days, going to the Dominican Republic. I'm going to be there pretty much the whole summer, doing the same thing as last summer over in the Dominican Republic. So yeah.
Gotcha. So what's the change? Like, why from Haiti to the DR?
Yeah, so long story, trying to make it short. Last summer, our Haiti kids will know this over at ARCHE. But basically, the last summer was cut short because of a bunch of political unrest. And,
In Haiti.
Yeah, in Haiti. And pretty much this past year, they've been going up and down from threat level 4 back to threat level 3. And Mission of Hope doesn't want to deal with, if it goes back up to 4, having to cancel all the trips again.
Yeah, and what that means, threat level 4 means that any insurance policy from North America, whatever, that's not within the country, it just doesn't work anymore just because the whole country is in a threat. It's kind of like there's going to be so many emergencies that happen, so they're just like, all right, we're not responsible for any of this. So,
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So if you're here and then you get hurt and you're relying on insurance, it's
Insurance
not going to
not
cover
liable.
it. So you might as well get out.
And also the U.S. government recommends you not to travel to threat level 4 countries. Yeah.
Threat level 4. So you guys are going to next door neighbors, Dominican Republic.
He's going.
You're
Yes.
going.
Yes.
Okay. Wow. Okay. Yeah. I was really curious about that because I was part of the mission training process for inner city, and there was a point during our mission training where it became instead of Haiti's team, it became Dominican Republic, and I was like, okay, what happened? And so bringing clarity to that is really important. Thanks, guys. So how would y'all, since you guys have been to many, you guys can take, anybody take, I know you guys are looking at each other right now. How would you define missions? Brian Kim, you go.
About what?
How would you define?
Brian's looking because I didn't get to say where I went. That's
Oh shoot! My bad.
It's not that big a deal. It's okay. It's pretty similar.
Yeah, tell us more about that. My bad.
Inner city 3 times. Same city but different organization as Brian. I went to Camp Barnabas, which is a summer camp for kids with disabilities. And this past summer I went to Haiti with Brian. Yeah, that's pretty much it.
Wow. Okay. Well, then now you can take the question, Dan. How would you define missions? Somebody came up to you and asked.
Somebody came up to me and asked, hey, what's missions? It's pretty much short term, long term, whatever you want. You just go pretty much to, you go to share the gospel, the good news. You share, and sharing is kind of different for me because, some people kind of like to share with one-on-one time talking hey, this is what the gospel is. But a lot of people, it's easier to show physical, doing something for somebody because you want them to know the Lord. And that's kind of what a big part of Haiti is, you do physical things, you dig wells, you dig holes for trees, you build houses, paint houses, whatever. So missions for me is kind of spreading the gospel in a place that needs it more than where you normally are. I don't know. It's kind of hard. See, that's kind of weird for me because a lot of times in Haiti they say your mission ground is between your 2 feet, which totally makes sense. You don't have to go to place with less more poverty just to share the gospel. That you can share the gospel at school or whatever, and they say that and it doesn't seem like as big a deal, but I don't know. I think I realized it more after I came back, because my brother asked me, he's like, hey, why do you have to go to Haiti to share the gospel. Why can't you do that? Because he's like, by going to Haiti, you're saying that everyone that you come into contact with is already a believer. That's why you're going. Otherwise, you shouldn't be going. You know. So that was kind of a point where I was like, oh, but yeah, pretty much just to share the gospel, physically, mentally, spiritually, whatever way you want to do it.
Wow. Anything to build off of that, Brian?
Yeah. So for me, kind of going off of that ish, I think of missions like why does missions mean so much to me? And like kind of Pastor Pete talked about like heaven today, like home and all that stuff. And if heaven is supposed to be like this just amazing, great place, that like it's just completely unimaginable. And me, like honestly, like when I was in Haiti, like serving, like kind of doing all the things that Daniel listed, but also like serving the teams, like serving the people that was there, like that to me like is where I find a lot of life. Like I find it very rewarding. And honestly, like that's kind of how I imagine like heaven would be like. And kind of just going there just feels like there's like a glimpse of like this thing that like God is trying to get me to see. Like, hey, like this is like where life is shown. Like so much life and playing with these kids, showing them love. Kind of Daniel said earlier, like growing in like patience and growing in love. And that's what mission means to me, and like kind of like what keeps me going. And like literally every single year wanting to go back is because like there's just such a part of my heart that's just like there in missions, not specifically Haiti, but just being on missions itself and kind of learning how to incorporate that to like my everyday life. Yeah.
And you've also been in missions like almost every summer for
for the past
5-6 summers.
Yeah, I think this will be my 7th summer. I think
7th summer,
something
wow.
like that.
Serving. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. No, I know those kind of stories, especially from people like college kids, like, and then also you guys were high school kids when that also.
Yeah.
That's
Middle
like,
school too.
Yeah, middle school too.
I didn't go to middle school, but yeah.
But like even all that, just like the fact that you guys continuously go, like this is a time for you during the summer where a lot of other kids might be taking classes, catch up on school, or just enjoying the time that they get to with the friends during the summer. You guys are choosing to kind of leave your comfort zones to be in a place where you're surrounded by a lot of people you don't know, and I think that's like. It's an interesting thing because it's very countercultural, very opposite to what the normal person, the average student would do. And so, yeah, I'm very encouraged to hear that. I'm very encouraged to see you guys on a summer basis or whenever I get to see you guys, because it's just a constant reminder of like how God can work and how he's using like very, very average people.
Wow,
very,
thanks.
very average.
Yes, you guys didn't know we're very average.
Very average. Very average. Okay, but like Brian touched upon it a little bit, and this was actually the next question was like, what missions has done in your life? You, Brian, you were talking about how like there's service, there's a place where you can love on people that are very different from you. Anything more that you wanted to add to that, Brian, before I pass it off to Daniel? Like, what has missions done in your life?
In my life, okay.
Yes, sir.
Just growing a lot. I think kind of touching upon my experience over this past winter break. Like when I was serving there as an intern, we had like 3 or 4 interns versus like 40 something like over the summer. And being in that setting, we had to do like a lot more work, like a lot more chores and things like that. And I just had to like pray a lot, like, hey God, like I need the strength and energy to do this, but I can't do this without you. And relying like solely on the Lord to like give me the strength and energy, the patience to love and serve. And that's kind of like what I focused my thing on the 2 weeks while I was in Haiti over winter break. And honestly, like I grew a lot. Like I found ways where I can love on people like I honestly have never done before. Like being patient in like a completely different level that honestly like I probably like have never done in my life. And just growing in that way and like watching the Lord like be very faithful to me and like showing me ways like very, very clearly like how I need to grow and like how I can advance my faith and love on others and care for others and serve. And I think that's like what I've learned a lot of the past like couple of years, like constantly trying to be in missions and stuff like that.
Yeah. How about you, Daniel? What has missions done in your life?
What has missions done in my life? I think missions, honestly, people say this all the time, like, oh, it opened my eyes, like, oh, you take things for granted, you take, housing, water for granted, but like, you don't really realize it until you're there, and you don't even, like, for me personally, I went 2 summers ago for a week, and I thought I knew, like, oh, like, I know Haiti now. I've been like, oh, you want to hear about Haiti? Let me tell you. Oh, they don't have water. They have trash everywhere. But like really being immersed into it for like a longer period of time helped me appreciate it more. Like this past week, I didn't have water at home at my apartment complex at College Station for like it was like 15 hours or something. But it's a huge inconvenience, and like we say like, oh, like after missions I stopped taking things for granted. Like, did you really? Like, no, because after 2 weeks you just go back to showering for 45 minutes, like, and these are things that we have every day, and these are things that I realize personally. Like, I take so many things for granted. I take being able to communicate with other people for granted, because like, when you're over there you can't talk to the kids as you want to talk to them here. Like, oh, like, you want to talk about your day? Grab a third person so you can talk to them awkwardly word by word, And I learned from missions the fact that like, wow, like we're so different. We're so different. But the people there, the people here, we love the Lord so much. And like, it was crazy because we go to Haitian service every Sunday, and I don't understand a word, like it's in Creole, and the pastors, they do the Messi Saya. That means like it's like thank you Jesus, right? Thank you Lord. Yeah. And I that it's cool. But like during praise, like we go ham, like it's in Creole.
We go ham.
Like we go hard in the paint. And I love that, we're going jumping up and down. We're dancing, we're singing, it's like songs that we know, but it's like sung like half in Creole, half in English. And no matter what part it is, we're all like just going at it, and there's like North Americans that have only been there for a week. There's Haitians that have been there their whole life. And it's hard, trying to put these like two groups of people together, but like, and God works in ways that we don't understand. And these are things that I notice from the outside looking in. And I'm just like, wow, like it's really real out here. You know, God's love's really working out here. And those are things that I learned from missions, and most impactful for me. Just how I love, how people love, and how God works through amongst all of us. Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, it's good to hear about that. I'm actually really excited for the next question, because I feel like you guys have a number of things to tell us. But any crazy experiences, crazy funny things, crazy like serious things.
Talk about it?
Yeah.
I don't know if we're allowed to talk about it.
Keep it rated G for all of our.
No, it's not even that it's rated G. It's just that Brian already got flagged once.
Oh shit!
For a video. Yeah. Yeah, he had to take down a video.
The video was 5 minutes long. 5 minutes later, after I posted, they're like, "Yeah, you need to take this down."
Yeah, he worked on it pretty long. So,
crazy experiences.
You can talk about a crazy experience. I got a couple in mind.
You can go first.
Well, the thing is, like, so they wanted us to talk about certain things because they didn't want to paint a bad picture of Haiti. Because you talk about 100 good things and you say one bad thing, that's the one thing that people remember, And they're like, wow, like, oh, Haiti's, they're having pastors. They're having 100 pastors, 100 new pastors that are going to preach the gospel. But hey, there's one guy. There's a picture of burning something on the street. Oh, Haiti must be crazy. Oh my gosh. Oh, we're out of toilet paper. We have to use bed sheets to wipe, Mom. Those are calls and phone calls that have actually happened. Like Brian told me there was a person that happened. Yeah, we ran out of toilet paper on one stall. And then
one roll of toilet paper
One roll of toilet paper. One saw they ran out. We have literally thousands of rolls of toilet paper in the closet. Every closet. And she's like, "Oh, we're out of toilet paper. We have to use bed sheets
to
wipe our butt." And like that's ridiculous. And people like to hype things up because like they say like for us like as interns, whatever you do, the team members are gonna do like times 10, whatever emotion you show. So and that's really true. It's like crowd mentality. You see one person freaking out, like should I be freaking out about what they're freaking out about? And like, yeah, so crazy stories like that, we try not to say because a lot of crazy things that people like say are like bad things because they're like, oh, this is something cool that I want to share that usually doesn't happen, But so we try not to do that. Like we try to paint it in a fun like way, but it's still people can get the wrong message,
But there's still some good crazy stories.
Yeah, exactly. So the ones that come up to mind, like the bad ones come up to mind first, but if you have a good one.
Yeah, I have a good one.
All right, go, Brian.
So one of my Alabama teams, the youth pastor, he went to Haiti a couple of years back with his college ministry, but not with Mission of Hope. And they were up in this town like 30 minutes away, and they were like at this orphanage every day. And I think he went there like 3 or 4 summers in a row. And like if you guys like, like if you're at VBS or whatever, there's always that one kid that like kind of sticks out to you and you kind of like just really build this like relationship with. And apparently like after this one summer, the orphanage broke apart. So all the kids disappeared. Or not disappeared. They got adopted by different families like all over different villages in Haiti. And so we're up at one of the villages that we were at for sports camp. And on one of the last days, as they're getting food after the day, he sees this kid who he last saw 4 years ago at an orphanage 30 minutes away. And he like pulls the kid aside. He's like, hey, like, do you remember me? And the kid's like, oh my gosh, like, yeah, I do. And he like pulls up this picture from like 4 years ago at this orphanage, literally 30 minutes away. And it was just like crazy moment because like God is faithful. Like, hey, you're building these relationships with these kids, but like God is faithful that like those relationships really do matter.
Yeah.
And like, I think the kid was what, like 5 years old. Like he remembered this random white guy from like for like a week that like he was there for a week. He remembered them for 4 years ago, which is crazy. And like it was just like a really cool moment, just like seeing that and like just like the way like God is faithful. Like there's like a family here that like is adopting like different kids like at the orphanage and stuff like that. And I thought that was really cool. There's like, Dan, do you have another crazy story? I'm trying to think of a couple more, but
well, yeah, I mean, crazy stories. I mean, it's always fun, like finding tarantulas and stuff. But
Oh, there's tarantulas.
yeah, so like,
wow.
like Bearsea, the other campus, there's like we live like to the beach, so there's a bunch of tarantulas. So if you like find a bunch of holes on the ground, you pour water into it, a tarantula would come out, and that's like always fun. But
Oh, dude, that's cool.
yeah, I mean, a fun story we had was because of the like. So the reason why it went up the threat level was it was like an oil
Problem.
gas.
oil gas problem. And we during that short time we were kind of like locked in, and we had a team of like I think like 77 people from one church, which is like huge, and they were prepared. So they prepared like it was like 3 teams. It was like team yellow, team red, team green. No, it was 4, team blue, and they like came up with like shirts, bandanas. With huge team games to play, and it was super fun, super well organized. We were gonna play with the kids in the village, but we couldn't leave, so we just did it on our own. And like we came up with teams, chants, like so we had like 4 different things, like dodgeball, what's the rope game?
Tug of war?
Tug of war, and then the
Yvonne, whatever.
the go up. It's in Haiti we have a game where it's like cross the line, go behind the line. I don't know what it is, but I don't know what it is in Creole, but we played that, and it was cool. We had like a field day within our little organization, just because like if we like don't do anything, you kind of go crazy, you know?
Yeah.
And if you're in the mindset of like we're not doing anything because we can't do anything, people are like, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Like, you know, so we have to keep people busy, and we're like,
yeah.
how do we keep like 200 people, whatever, busy? So that was super fun. You know?
because
like,
for them, they've been they've been in training, preparing for that,
like expecting
week or
these
2.
things, you know?
Yeah, expecting.
And then
to
all of a
serve.
sudden you can't do anything. You're stuck behind walls.
It
So,
really affects your mental.
yeah. So we had to come up with a way to like entertain people, and they were pretty much just like, hey, don't do anything or don't do nothing, do something.
Yeah.
And we're like, what are we supposed to do? Like, we'll play cards with 200 people. Like, so, and that was really cool because they were really prepared, and they were really fun. I think they were from Detroit. Yeah. Shout out to them. If I'm wrong, I'm sorry, but yeah, they were really fun. That was probably like my favorite group.
Yeah.
And it was a blast, and it was something that was kind of like we were a little bit worried about, you know, like people would be super disappointed paying $1,000 to go to Haiti and doing nothing, you know, and that was a good time. I had a lot of fun, and that was I honestly think it was God working that they came at that week, you know, like it could have been a bunch of old people and they would have had a miserable time, but it was a bunch of young middle school, high schoolers, and we had a blast, and yeah, blessing in disguise, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah. So like what's kind of interesting was like the vibe at his campus. We were at different campuses. I was at the beach campus. He was up in the main campus. And the vibe was completely different. Like the vibe at our campus was like everyone
sad.
is like laying down, like crying, like complaining.
It was like apocalypse.
And like
now.
the thing is like for our campus, like we get food, water, and all of our supplies like from the main campus. So it looks like we're very low on supplies. So everyone's like, "Oh my gosh, like we have no food."
Yeah.
And like I kind of made a joke, like I was like, I thought dinner was at 5, but dinner was at 5:30. So my team lines up at 5 o'clock, like, "Hey, why is no one here?" I was like, "Oh, so it turns out we're low on food. We're not gonna eat dinner today, just to ration our food out." And they all look at me like they're gonna like kill me. And I was like,
What
"Oh,
not
dude,
to
it's a
do
joke.
with your leader
Dinner's at
intentions.
5:30. Dinner's not at 5."
Yeah, since you ate today, you're not eating tomorrow. Please get in a single file line.
Oh my god.
But yeah, something else that was kind of crazy. This wasn't from this past summer. This was from 2 summers ago. I don't know if you were on my team that day. I think we were planting trees, and we were up in Chutzmalo, which is like kind of up in the mountains. And
Source materials.
As we were planting, this little baby was
I
like,
was there.
this little baby was like crawling, and he like kind of touches Pastor Pete's legs, and we're like, oh, like what is this kid? And this kid's eye is like shut, and there's like ants like crawling all over his face,
gosh.
and obviously like looking at this baby, we're just like completely shocked, like heartbroken. And Pastor P picks him up, and he's just like not like responding to like any touch or whatever. And we pull like our translator aside, and we're like, hey, like who is this baby? Like does he have parents? Like whatever. And apparently like the baby doesn't have any parents, and like he kind of just crawls around the village, and like people who like live in the village like kind of give him food like here and then and here and there and stuff like that. And like just hearing that story, and like I think what the story behind it was, like his mom tried to get an abortion through,
yeah, I remember it because Pastor talked about it all the time. So what happened was, the mom tried to get an abortion. Abortions aren't really well studied in Haiti. What they do was, voodoo is huge there. So what they did was they paid a voodoo guy, and the voodoo guy gave them werewolf's blood, which is a mix of blood and bleach, what I learned.
Oh my
so
gosh.
what they do is you drink bleach so that you get messed up enough so that your baby dies.
Yeah.
And then that's what you call an abortion, and then you say thank you to the voodoo gods and the werewolf, whatever. And that's what she did. And then I think he came out with a form of autism, and the fact that he was disowned as soon as he was born because he wasn't supposed to be born. And his parents avoided him. So what I remember was that they left him outside after he was born.
Yeah.
Like outside of their house. And other people picked him up, and they felt bad, and they took care of him, and they like literally fed him like nothing because there's already not a lot of food to go around. And because of that, he was like raised on neglect, and he literally looked like he was maybe like 2 or 3, but realistically he was like 6 or 7.
Yeah, I think it was like 8 actually.
Yeah, just because he was so malnourished.
Yeah, and it was like that was like one of the most heartbreaking things I've ever seen, like in Haiti, like ever in my life, and it was just crazy.
Yeah,
wow.
Especially because like a big thing was Pastor. Because, at that time, Kara was, like, around that age. He had 2 other kids that are around that age. And the fact that, like, the kid was so neglected that when Pastor did, like, he, like, reached out to him with open arms, the kid didn't really realize what that meant. Because nobody's really picked him up before. So he, like, when you go up to a kid and you approach them and you kind of, like, gesture, like, hey, I'm going to pick you up. They, like, kind of raise their arms. The kid was just squatting the entire time with ants, like, crawling literally all over his face and eyeballs. And I was like, that's the state that he's living in constantly every day in, day out. He doesn't know anybody. He's alone in his world, and like what is that like? Not to like really have any friends, not to have any family, not to have a place to sleep or eat, and that's like that was the most extreme example that we saw, and that's
yeah. So any like updates, or is this like this baby you guys were just not able to do anything about?
So I went back to the place, to Source Mindless, and we talked to the translator, and they said that they were doing something about it, but like they don't know which translator, because I was like, hey, like this baby thing happened, like what happened to it? They're like, well, who was your translator? I was like, I don't know.
Yeah.
And they're like, well, I don't know. And then I was like, okay. And that was just kind of it. But at the moment, they said that they were going to contact headquarters at Mission Hope was going to do something about it. And I'm assuming that they did, because I didn't see him when I went back.
Yeah. It's just kind of hard for, I guess for me as a listener, because it's like there's no closure, right? You'd see that, and obviously anybody anybody sees that would want to see some kind of closure, some sort of like hope from that.
Yeah.
And the fact that we don't really know too much, and all we really can do is pray and like hope for the best is kind of like it's kind of.
And I don't know. The thing is, like, while we were there, we wanted to like, we have an extra shirt. Like, let's give him a shirt.
Give him a shirt or water, food. Yeah.
But a big thing that Mission of Hope focuses on is that we're doing work through the church. We need to tell people that it's God doing these things. It's God bringing these people to Haiti. It's not. It's not like North Americans coming and giving white people. They're gonna give us stuff.
Yeah.
We don't want that.
That's a big thing.
So what we do is we take all the donations and we give it to a pastor, and the church distributes it on their own.
Local church.
Local church. So. But knowing that, we talked to the translator, and he said that he would get to the bottom of it and like help him out, of course.
Yeah.
And, I'm hoping and I'm assuming that they did something, because I mean I feel like it's pretty bad if you just don't do anything.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I can't say that they definitely did it, but yeah.
Yeah, like so I think for that, like the experiences in Haiti have been kind of like, it's been on like both spectrums. Could you guys describe maybe like the hardest thing that you experienced there for you guys? Like, is this physically or mentally or anything? Because I know you guys are leaving probably the wealthiest country in the world, you know, where you got water, food, shelter, and then you're in a place where it's really hot. You don't have the access to those things. So hardest things in Haiti, or it may not be Haiti, it might be somewhere else.
Yours was probably the day you moved over. 'Cause that's what mine was.
Moved over what?
Moved over from Bercy. The night at like 3 a.m. When you guys had to like go around to our campus.
Oh,
yeah, that's what mine was. So
that person wasn't that.
Okay,
high for me.
I think it was not as bad as for y'all as for us. Because for us, so pretty much what happened was...
Yeah, some context, please.
Yeah. So we, like I said before, or Brian mentioned it, we have main campus and we have Bercy campus, and they get all the food from us. So what happened was there were roadblocks, so like huge rocks, burning tires, whatever. So major highways couldn't be accessed, so we couldn't get our food to there. So what we had to do is we had to pack trucks with like so we usually do like maybe like 2 or 3 trucks. We had to like pack one truck with like as much food, as much water as we could, and send it over at like 3 or 4 in the morning where protesters were sleeping, and like weave around the rocks and whatnot and get there. But after like a week of doing it, we're like, yeah, this is not gonna work. You know, we're gonna have to if we have to do this for the whole summer, like it's not like reliable. So we're gonna have to bring them over. So how many people were in the Bercy campus? Like 200?
30, 40.
Yeah. So 100 to 200 range. So we had to move those people to here. And so for his side of the story is coming in at like 3 a.m, I think. Like driving in 3 or 4 through like the rubble and through the dark scariness in like really weird canteen trucks, honestly. I feel kind of scared, you know, if you're in it at night.
Yeah.
So that's his side of the story. Our side of the story is... like, we didn't do anything all day. We just thought, you know, we're going to bed, whatever. And then we get called for an emergency meeting. All the interns go in for an emergency meeting.
Yeah.
And we get called to we have like this thing called the intern house, and like where we get to like chill and have meetings, whatever. We have a meeting. We're told like, hey, first of all, don't freak out, because, you know, the whole like if you freak out, everyone else will freak out.
Yeah, the crowd
mentality.
mentality.
We're going to have to tell people to kind of pack their things, because we're going to have Bercy campus move in. And what that meant for us is that we're going to have to provide 200 extra housing, dinner, room, food, bathroom, whatever.
Wow.
And so main campus, I'm pretty sure main campus was supposed to hold, I think like 300 or something. It was a huge, 300 or 400, like a huge number, but we were pretty filled. Mm-hmm. So we had to fill like I think it's definitely more than capacity, what was supposed to be.
Mm-hmm. There's like people sleeping on the floors.
Yeah,
and stuff.
so we had to manage that, and I was one of the interns at that campus. So they're like, "Hey, so we have some open rooms in the orphanages that aren't used, but they haven't been. They're like storage. So we're gonna have to." It was kind of crazy, especially because it was super dark. It was super dark. There's not really lights there, so we had to use like iPhone lights or whatever, and. So we had to empty out a bunch of storage rooms. We had to clean it. We had to wash it out, because it's like literally not been used for years. Mm-hmm. And then we had to get mattresses from the storage room, the warehouse, put them up there. We have to move around like all the people. We have to move them into separate rooms. Try to space it out. It was literally like 200 mattresses from the warehouse. Yeah. And the thing is, we have to carry them because and it's a far walk. I want to say like it's literally like maybe like half a mile, like. Yeah, between half of them. And the thing is, it's straight up downhill, uphill. Like it's it's rocks, like big rocks. It's not paved, so that's hard because you can only carry like 2 little mattresses max. You know, like both arms. So we had to do that up and down, and then we got a truck. We filled that truck up. We moved it back and forth, like made like a bunch of trips, and that was crazy because like we had the orphanage kids help too. Because a lot of times they don't really do something, but they usually mess around all the time, but like they were on it, like. I was really surprised. We were really proud of them because because it was like their first time like hosting, you know, they've never had to help. They've always just been the ones that are being helped. So I think they kind of felt like a sense of pride, and I really appreciated them. And yeah, that was crazy. That was insane. We had people. So the people who were in our campus were okay until the new people came. Because the new people were like, oh my gosh, like we just drove through the night and it was so scary. Like, oh my gosh, like are we even safe here? And yes, we were literally like the safest place in Haiti. We're guarded around walls. Our guards have guns. People know that we're in a
Okay, so you guys have guards.
We have guards. We have Haitian guards.
Yeah, security guards.
And they're very legit. We've never had to shoot a gun, but they know they have it just so that the outsiders know that we're protected. You know, we're strapped. You know, we keep it honest. You know, But yeah, so when they walked in, it was a huge sense of panic. You know, like, and like people didn't want to go to sleep right away. So what are you supposed to do with 400 or 500 people?
Just kind of lying around.
You know,
yeah.
like we're gonna play a huge game of spoons. Yeah, I don't know. We didn't know what to do, and we had a praise session. We had an emergency
like
praise session.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that
On
was
the basketball
cool.
court, yeah.
On the basketball court outside. We brought all the cans of mosquito repellent. We had to have a lot of like, come to Jesus. It's okay. You're at a place of, you know, that God's going to protect us. Because people were like freaking out. And when one person starts crying just because they're like, they're like, oh my gosh, why is that person crying? Like, oh, and then they like, a lot of times when people cry, they like to sit. And like, I feel bad, but I'm like, hey, we're kind of like moving. I need you to stand. Like, what are you going to tell a person who's trying to like get out of the way, you know? So it was tough, you know, getting through.
This is like exactly what Mission of Hope doesn't want us to say.
Exactly. That's the thing.
And, like,
because it looks bad. That's why I said, like, I don't know if we're allowed to say it. Like, but the thing is, so the point of the story, we got through it.
Yeah.
And it was really, really good at the end. Everyone was perfectly safe. We had enough water, enough food.
Yeah.
We literally had enough food to stay there for like years. Like, we have a warehouse full of rice and beans and whatever you need. Yeah. So it was a crazy moment.
Yeah, like we
got past it.
like I think it's real, and I think those are the stories that people want to know. People that are interested in going to Haiti or Dominican Republic or even Southeast Asia, because like it's like we live, and like you mentioned before, we live in a very privileged society. Like we can take anything for granted. Like I got AC, I got food in my fridge, Wi-Fi, water, exactly.
Chick-fil-A,
Exactly. Things that people would never even dream of in those kind of in those countries. And so, yeah.
I kind of want to add to that too. Like,
yeah, sure.
Something that like I noticed, like kind of what Mission of Hope staff was telling us, like while this was all going on, it's like, hey, like this is like the real world still. Like, like even though like when we go there for like a week, it's like all fun and games, like everything, like we're having a super good time, and then like these things happen, and it's like this is still the real world. Like even in the United States, like you know, there's still like bad parts of town, like there's like shootings going on, all sorts of different things, and like hey, like this is very much like still the real world, and like it kind of hits you that like it's not just like all fun and games. Like, this is still a mission trip on a third world country, like in poverty, like dealing with political issues and all that stuff, and like kind of for me like kind of hit me like that, like kind of like when we had to realize like we all had to leave and stuff. It's like this is like still the real world, and like we had to like live through that and deal with it.
And the fact that you guys are here, you know, talking and having a good time on a podcast is, I think, a good testament to show that God provides. Like you guys in those situations, the hardest things, like you know, people crying or like people unsure, like if they're gonna be safe, they'll be able to get back home in one piece. The fact that you guys are here, you know, completely thriving, exactly, yeah, still alive, still kicking. I think it says a lot. Things that you guys miss, like, and it can go both ways. Like when you guys were on missions, things that you missed about home, and even now that you guys are home, things that you miss about, you know, the mission field, wherever that may be.
Honestly, recently I've been really missing Christopher. That was my tea intern. Tea is like little. So that was my Haitian kid that goes around with me on like during daily trips. So I was like his like, I don't know. He was my intern. That's what it was. Yeah. So he stuck with me, and he was a really good kid, and he was one of the orphanage kids. And like recently, I think it's because the first session of Dominican Republican like team is already there. So Brian's second session, and like I see them posting pictures, I see them on Instagram all the time, and I'm so jealous. Like it's so real, like because I know the joy that I felt when I was in that position, and the fact that I'm not feeling it right now, and I know how it felt to post those posts and be like, this is the happiest moment of my life. Like, this is peak. It's only downhill from here. I love these kids to death. And now, like, imagine I'm like watching that, and I'm like, "Ooh, I'm not a part of that." Yeah, like FOMO is so real right now.
Very heavy.
And it like slaps you in the face because I'm watching that while I'm sitting in a break, while I'm handing out samples in Costco, you know. And I'm like, I would love to be there so much. Yeah, I would love to do that, but yeah, I miss the kids so much. And Brian didn't get this as much because he was at a different campus. So the main campus is also part. The orphanage is a part of it.
The main campus.
So we have orphanage, different age kids, you know, we have like, I think like 20, 30? I don't know, but
I don't know.
Yeah, we didn't get to see all of them. Yeah, but I got pretty close with them just because we spent every day with them, and I love them to death. Like, especially like the little kids. Oh, they're so cute, and you know, these Haitian kids are tough. So they play with you, they fall, they don't cry, you know, like babies, like, and when babies cry, they look for you, like, you know, like, oh, am I hurt? But like, you know, when a Haitian baby falls, they just get right back up, you know, they're tough. These kids are fun to play with, you know, and they're bare feet, they're walking on gravel. It doesn't matter. So I love playing with their kids. I love playing basketball with them, whatever with them, and just dancing with them. And I think I miss the most just spending time with of course I miss like the actual like ministry part, but like the relational part, you know, of like the, you know, like just saying hi to the laundry ladies, saying hi to the kitchen ladies in the morning. Cause like we start the day at like 7 in the morning. So they have to come at like 5:30
to get everything
to start
ready.
cooking, you know? And we had a little boot camp thing where we would wake up at like 5:30 every morning and try to like work out, which is like running and whatever. And this was me and a couple of guys there. And when we get there, the kitchen ladies would get there too. And I would say hi to them. And of course, they don't speak any English, but they loved us and we loved them. And we were really appreciative of what they're doing. And that like sense of like, hey, I know I can't say it like in words, but I really appreciate you, and them accepting that appreciation and kind of that like connection. And especially with the kids, you know, when they wake up and we're like, hey, like, you want to play? Like, what do you want to do today? Like, that like relationship I really miss. I really miss like the fields there. When you're walking through and you're going through the city and you see the people and the fact that you get to like say hi to everybody, it's different. It's like, you think like Southern hospitality is like nice. Like, I guess Haiti is like even more Southern hospitality because it's more down, but wow, like everyone says hi to everyone, and it's not even like it's not the sup nod that you give to people, you know, it's not the little smile that you give to people, like, how you doing? Like, no, it's like that everyone actually says hi to people, and I miss that so much. And I think it's because we're so self-consumed and we're so like, oh, I'm so busy, I gotta get this done, I gotta get this done. I think people there are more like, hey, like let's we're living life, like, how you doing, like, what's up, you know, to random strangers that you're walking around, you say hello.
Yeah.
And a lot of times, if someone says hello to you here, you think they want something, and you're like, oh, yeah, like, oh, I don't have any money or whatever. But there, everyone's just saying hello just to say hello, and I really miss that.
Yeah. So like when I was there, I didn't really miss that much stuff. I remember one time I got the stomach bug, and I was like literally on the toilet for like 2 days. And that's like when you miss.
That was funny. That was really funny. Because they would come over, and then we'd be like, and like Brian and I didn't really see each other that much, maybe like once a week.
Yeah.
And he like everyone else was already here, and like Brian wasn't here, and he's like walking slowly, and he's like
in pain,
dude, I'm not okay.
I used 3 rolls of toilet paper in 2 days.
Oh,
and it's
my
a thick
gosh.
toilet paper. But anyway,
it's one ply.
You're like sitting there and you're just like, man, I just want to be home. Like, I want to be in AC. Like, I want to be in my bed. Like, I want my
pooping
mom.
while you're sweating is very hard.
Yeah. Like you want your mom to like make you some tea, like whatever, like soup. Like you just like, it was awful. And like, mainly because I was sick and like, I just couldn't like do anything. I was just like literally in like a toilet inside a storage can for 2 days. And it was just awful. But besides that, like, I don't think I missed a lot. Like, I talked about food a lot. Like,
oh yeah.
Like,
oh yeah.
Yeah, like this one of the church says like, so kind of like what Daniel said, like the pastor talks in Creole and we have no idea what they're saying. So like I was sitting there with a couple of interns and I was like, let's look at every single picture of food that we have on our phone. We're looking at pictures of like a Chick-fil-A sandwich. Or like, oh my god, like French fries. Yeah, like you know how like people say like, very basic food.
Like it comes up, like you like talk about it in your phone, and it comes up on your Instagram. We were talking about Chick-fil-A. Chick-fil-A ads come up on Instagram. They're like, oh for this time only, lemonade, fresh squeeze, and we're just like, bro.
But yeah, coming back, like a big reason like why like I went back over winter break for the 2 weeks was because like summer got cut short and I was like, I miss it so much. And like literally everything about like one of my favorite things was like yelling at my teams like on the bus, like, hey, like, you know, we're doing this, like
yelling
whatever.
At them.
And like it's honestly like it's very small and it's like it sounds like very like meaningless or whatever, but like I honestly loved it. And like just thinking about all the little things and like stuff like that, I was like, okay, I really like doing this, and like I missed literally every single part of it. Like
tours?
Yeah, like tours. Like even like Daniel said, like walking around the villages, like
just
walking in the dirt, like walking in the dirt and like opening the door and like some Haitian mom is like washing her clothes like on the floor with like
porch,
kids like running around everywhere.
Butt
like,
naked.
just like
really
honestly,
funny.
like every single
kids.
little thing is just
Yeah, the kids. I mean, sometimes the moms too. They
Yeah.
don't really care.
and like every single little thing is I just missed it so much, which was like also another big reason like why I like just like absolutely had to go back because like there's nothing for me that was like nothing else that like I feel like could live up to this and like why would I not go back? But yeah, like being super relational with the kids like that's huge. Being with the interns, like meeting new people and like honestly just like every little part about it, I just like miss it a lot.
I honestly think the interns have more fun than the team members, just because you get to build connections with them and you get really close to the interns.
The other interns.
Yeah, the other interns, and I mean, I guess that's like a why you should go to Haiti, especially Haiti, is because you have a lot of fun. Like it's a lot of work, but I think you have way more fun than you do work. That kind of sounds bad, but I had a blast.
I view it as like you're going on like 10 different mission trips. You're going on a mission trip every single week. And it's if one mission trip is like super fun, then just go on 10 consecutive mission trips.
Pretty much. Yeah.
Just giving all the plugs.
Especially because we have like new teams every week and we go to different cities. So like it's like a whole like we meet brand new people. We have brand new translators and like I had a team once that was like I think they're from Dallas. Yeah, they're from Dallas. They were like one of my favorite teams, but they ranged from like there was I think a 70-year-old lady. So she had a cane and she couldn't walk very well. But she was a trooper. Like she was so strong. We had a day where our bus wasn't working, so we had to wait there in the sun. We had a great time. We had a junior in high school, so it was like a 17-year-old to a 70-year-old, and like it was great. I had a great time. I think when you go to Haiti, everyone becomes nicer, which is weird.
Also, your patience level goes up.
Yeah. I think your expectation for things being not okay is raised. So you can get away with a lot of things in Haiti. Like you can be really annoying and get away with. I'm not saying that to do that.
Do that when you get
But yeah, you have a lot more love for people.
Yeah, and like honestly, like you kind of embrace like like all those like little girls that are like super annoying. Like you kind of embrace it. And it becomes a lot of fun.
Yeah,
and like
you join in,
like everything. Your patience level is really high, and like you're with like a bunch of God's people, and like literally like nothing to worry about. And like how can you not have like so much fun in that setting?
That's a big thing though. So I guess we could talk about like post Haiti depression. Almost.
Sure. No. I was actually gonna like transition to that with asking you about like how you can take this what you've learned on missions and like different aspects of your life here back in the States. Talk about that. The post Haiti depression, because I know that's actually something very familiar. It's something that we were trained. Or that was mentioned in training during our the training sessions on Saturdays. So tell me a little bit more about that.
Yeah, I mean, it's not like. I mean, I guess it's a little discouraging for people who want to go missions, but it's something that's real. And I didn't think that it was going to be that big, but the fact that our mission trip got short, so there's things that play into that, like Brian said, I didn't feel like I like completed my task that I went there to do. We only got to serve 5 out of the 10 weeks. I felt like I didn't do as much as I wanted to do. I feel like I didn't do like 100%. But even with that, when you come back from being together with the same 30 people for 10 weeks, and you come back from that, the moment you wake up, you're with them. I mean, Brian and I shared a room at Austin while we were serving, and all 11 guys lived in the same house.
11, 12, something like that.
Yeah, and it was a blast. Like every day's a sleepover.
Yeah.
And like coming from like literally the morning that we came. So like every morning we wake up, go to the other person's room, go outside, say hi to people, make steak and eggs, one of our guys makes steak and eggs every morning, which is ridiculous. But so we would always be surrounded by people. Someone would always be up. Someone would always be there to talk. I wake up at my house the day after. We drive that from Austin, and I sleep and I wake up, and my parents are at work, my brother's at work, and I wake up and I'm alone. And I was like, I have not waken up alone in 10 weeks.
Yeah.
Where is everyone? Where are the kitchen ladies, Where's Nam making steak and eggs, I missed that so much. And that kind of hit me. Like, it was like almost like loneliness. Like, I think I like took it for granted, like how many people that were around, how many loving people were around me, like.
It's also different because Daniel had a girl in Haiti.
I did not have a girl.
That's an episode 2.
That's not fair.
Part 2 of our podcast, The Well, Haiti edition.
Yeah, no, but so like I think just having the people around me and then not having it at all, was kind of like, it was huge. It kind of was like, and like the coming back, you know, because everyone, so you're surrounded with people that love you all the time, and then
they just kind of disappear.
And then you're at a place, and then you put in like the regular public, and then you go to like Walmart, and nobody's ever saying hi to you. I'm like, why is nobody saying hi to me? Like, why are people not being friendly? Because we're kind of used to that, you know.
Yeah.
And like, a huge thing that was weird was when I went to the airport. I was like, why are people dressed so provocatively? And it sounds weird to say, but because for 10 weeks we were all wearing like t-shirts and basketball shorts, it was very weird. I was like, I'm not okay with this. This is not okay. But yeah, some things like the going back, like especially going back to not being with kids all the time was huge for me because here's the thing. I think babies are useless.
Wow.
That's a very, but you gotta listen to what I'm trying to say.
All right.
In society, in the world, babies do nothing.
Yeah, they just cry, eat, and poop.
Cry, eat, and poop.
And sleep.
Nothing. They do nothing useful for our society, for our world. But they're super cute. Cute as heck, man. I love them. There was a baby. Her name was Embry. She was 5 months old. 5 months? 5 weeks? No.
I don't know.
No, it was 5 weeks. She was 5 weeks old when she came to Haiti. She was a little.
She was so freaking cute.
She was a little. I don't know. Her like a little tennis ball. She was bald. She was born bald, and she stayed bald for. She's still bald right now. She barely has any hair. It's like a peach. She's got a little peach fuzz. But so like, I guess like I walked in a room and I was like, babies are useless. You know that? And people were like, what the heck is wrong with this guy? Why does he hate babies? But I ended up loving her so much. And I honestly, like, I miss her because I see pictures of her. Her mom was
grown up.
Yeah, so her parents were our like intern parents. I'm doing air quotes right now. And they like were our parents. And so we can go to them if we need anything, talk to us, whatever. And so they brought their 2 girls with them. And one was like 4 or 5. And one was 5 weeks old. And I was like, wow, like, I've never spent so much time with the baby because I saw her every day. I held her every day, and I was like, man, I want a baby now. But yeah, I missed that a lot. Like I missed being with kids a lot because I had Embry, I had the Haitian kids, and I had the orphanage kids all the time around me. So going back to that, I missed the babies. Yeah, I miss my babies. Lolo and Karen especially too.
Wait, what were we talking about again?
So talking about a little bit how you guys transitioned, maybe post
Haiti depression.
Post Haiti, I mentioned post Haiti depression. That's real. And then and then Daniel brought babies.
Yeah.
And how they're useless.
I love babies. Just letting everyone know.
Yeah. So kind of for me, like, so the way it happened was we were in Austin for like 4 to 5 weeks, and then we went to church retreat, and then we had like half a week off, and then I started school. And like while we were in Austin, like literally a house full of like 12 guys who were like just all love the Lord like crazy, and like literally all of us hanging out all the time, doing everything together. And like leaving that, like for me, was just like kind of hard, especially like going back to school. It's like, hey, like this is like the Christian community that I want. Like this is so much fun. Like this is literally like what I'm looking for. And like it was so, like it's like impossible for me to find it. It took a lot of praying, like took a lot of work, but like coming from that to like being by yourself. And like being at like back at school, not even with your family, and like even with Daniel, who I was with like the whole summer,
24/7.
Yeah, like being by yourself, it was so hard.
Yeah,
and like it sucked because like you couldn't do anything about it.
You can't talk to anyone about it.
Like if we were sad, we were just like, hey, like open the door, like hey, let's talk, like whatever. And like now you're by yourself, and like that was one of the hardest things. But I mean, it's definitely like. It was hard because it was so good. Like the community that we had there, that we shared like all the time, 24/7, was just amazing. Yeah. But I think kind of touching on being in Austin from when we were in Haiti, for me it was kind of weird because I think a lot of us, like all the interns that were there, we like transitioned from like, oh, we're on mission in Haiti, and now we're in Austin, so we're not in mission anymore. And like that to me was like I mean, of course, like I got caught up in that too, but it's like it was kind of frustrating. But it's like, okay, we're not here, and like we weren't like doing work, like we weren't doing like ministry work every day. We were sometimes doing like moving giant rocks and burning.
Yeah, we were indentured servants.
We were like slaves.
The physical, all the physical.
No, like
all the physical labor.
I mowed a lawn. No, listen. So we went to a place. We went to a good place. So they do horses for kids that are not in okay families. So it's like
Okay,
it's horse therapy.
let me reword that. Yeah,
It's
horse therapy.
Yeah,
they don't do horses.
It's horses for kids that aren't okay. No, it's horse therapy, and it's actually really helpful. So
Yeah.
because a lot of times kids have a hard time connecting with other adults that are therapists,
Yeah.
like speaking what's on
Other
their mind.
people in general,
But
yeah.
with animals, there's like a different connection. So like they ride the horses, they go around. So what we went to do is we went to go help out the facility because it's just like if you're gonna have horses, it's a huge place, So because of that, we had to go, and there's like 50 of us, 40 of us. So we went and go like. A team of us went to go repaint the fences. A team of us went to go clean out the horse sheds. Team of us went to go pull
out
weeds.
I sat
pull
on my
out
knees.
weeds. That
I
was
sat on my knees pulling
awful.
weeds
Gardening.
for maybe
Yeah.
an hour and a half to 2 hours.
yeah. I mowed the lawn. Like we had So there's the big industrial lawnmower that mows like 5
Is
feet.
it
at
the
a
one
time.
you have to like drive?
Yeah, the one
or-
that you drive. It has
Okay.
like the dual like.
Wow.
There's that. But next to the trees and next to the fence, you have to use a small one. And we had to go around like the whole thing and through all the trees. And it was, oh my gosh. That was just like one day. Other times.
But like the reason it was frustrating was because like, first of all, like we're like, all of our minds was like, we didn't sign up for this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like, we want to like be with people. And we're here doing like, basically like slave work kind of.
Yeah, like yard work. Like,
And like, just all of that, it was like we're like depressed, like oh, like we're not in Haiti anymore. And then like a couple of the interns stayed in Turks and Caicos, and there were a couple of teams that went there. And I was looking at pictures of those interns with teams coming in every week there, and I was like, what the
Jealous,
heck? I'm
yeah.
so jealous. Like I want to be there, and we're here on our knees pulling weeds every day.
well, he was pulling weeds. I was weed whacking.
And it was miserable, but it's also hard to like see that big picture and like
Yeah.
like Mission
Yeah.
of Hope stuff, like
Okay.
have internal perspective. And like, it's so hard to do
here's
that.
the thing. I was frustrated because I was aware of. So what they say is, oh, like you're not realizing like everything you're doing is for God's kingdom.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I realize that, but I can still be frustrated at God's kingdom, and you can just not say anything and accept that, like we signed up to, do the Lord's work, and they're like, well, if you want to do the Lord's work, whack some weeds, man. Like, how does that relate to, A and B doesn't connect. So, and they were just like, oh, well, these places need help, and they don't want to hire people and pay them money. They want to use that money and take care of more people. And like, yeah, that makes sense. But like for us right now,
At the moment, yeah.
I was going to go play with kids in Haiti, and now I'm painting the fence. We went to church, and the church wanted us to pull out a fence. And that was one of the craziest responses. And I was like, I was like, hey, what are we doing today? I don't know.
Pulling out a fence.
I think we're doing something with the fence. I was like, okay. We go over there. One side is a hill down. The other side is full of cacti.
You can't like tackle the fence.
You can't. So, and the fence is made of, so the posts are metal posts that have
Yeah.
cement grounding. So we had to get the nails out, pull them all out. And like, we couldn't make big movements because there was literally cacti everywhere, and it was miserable. And it was in the summer in Austin, and
it's
the
hot.
heat, it was literally like 95 degrees. And we did that all day, probably
Yeah.
like 6-7 hours. And it was miserable. And we got, nothing out of it in like physical way. But like, anytime you're like, wow, like, why do we do that? Do we like for God's kingdom? And
Yeah.
I'm like, well, that's not what I want to hear.
So frustrating.
Yeah, it's super frustrating. And like, you can't even complain because you're like, well, you're here for missions anyway, so why are you complaining? I'm like, well, I get that. I'm just mad. Like,
Yeah.
yeah.
But also like a good thing that did come out of like obviously being in Austin, like we obviously talk about community a lot, but like, and I remember like a lot of interns said like it was hard for them to like go from being in Haiti for 10 weeks to being straight back into their home.
Yeah, tell me a
But-
little bit more about that. I'm a little confused on how you guys ended up in Austin. Was it because of like the what is it? The unrest
should
in
talk
Haiti?
about the gas.
It transitioned into you guys had to move to Austin.
Well, so basically what happened was like we had to leave Haiti, whatnot. Like I don't think the details is relevant to like what.
Yeah,
we
you just had to leave.
okay.
But so we're in. So like the reason we were in Austin was because Mission of Hope's headquarters is in Austin, and like obviously like how much would we hate it if we all had to go home and like we were cut like 4 or 5 weeks short.
Yeah.
So we went to Austin, and we were there, and like obviously Mission of Hope wasn't planning on us leaving Haiti.
What were
They-
we called? The team? I
The what do you mean?
forgot. Brad had a name for us.
Yeah, they did, but I forgot what the name was. It was like I I forgot.
I don't even know.
It was something cheesy. It was
like
something
the
cheesy.
Expendables or something. I don't know.
But anyways, so we were in Austin, and like basically every single day, we woke up not knowing what we were gonna do, and that added on to like our frustrations.
Okay.
But what was good about it was like we like knew how to be back in the States, like from being in Haiti for like 10 weeks or 5 weeks, I guess. So, you know, we got out of our system like all the diarrhea, like immediate diarrhea, like the shock of like going to Target and like kind of.
Oh yeah, that was crazy.
Yeah, and like
first time we landed and we went to Target together. Wow, it was insane.
Yeah, it was weird, but getting that out of our system altogether was like super nice. Like I really appreciated that. And there's definitely like I honestly think like the goods like definitely outweigh the bads. Like you really like I don't maybe Daniel just thinks about all the bad stuff.
I think I just had a hard time just because I was attacked by a lot of nature's beings.
A lot of natures.
A lot of nature's
Yeah.
little insects.
A lot of natures
Yeah,
attacked
so
Daniel.
first day I landed in Haiti, I stepped on a wasp inside a house.
Oh,
So
bro.
we were at the intern parents' house, and we were playing cards, and something was under the table, and the babies were walking around too, and I was
like,
like
totally fine?
I like stepped on something. I was like, ow, and I pulled it out, crunched it up, threw it out, whatever. It was kind of big, so I was like, I wasn't even looking. I was playing cards, and then like 5 minutes later, my feet start itching, and it starts like pulsing. I look down, and it was a wasp, and it's like stinger's still in me. Pull it out, and I'm like, whatever. I'm still playing the game. My foot starts swelling up so much, and it gets ridiculous, and I'm like, this is not okay. So that happened. We got to Austin. We were doing farm work. I got bit by fire ants. I'm very allergic to fire ants. So it was just a hard time. I think for me, I think I remember the pain the most.
Yeah.
Because we're walking around a lot, and if your feet are like messed up, it's very hard. So I think I think I was more frustrated than anything of like, what are we doing and why are we here?
Yeah, because realistically, you guys had planned, and I know this is the Haiti team that went to New Orleans. Very similar,
Yeah.
similar takeaway. Like, hey, we've been training. We you know, like we're so deeply invested in this country, right? And now we have to go. Now we have to go to Austin, a random place. So yeah,
But it's worse for us because we were pulled out.
yeah.
You know,
You were there for 5 weeks.
Exactly.
And then it was
we were like given like a sample. You know, we're like, oh, like here's a little bit of Haiti. Oh, you like it? Too bad. It was almost like that to me, and I wanted to enjoy it, and I did, but it was very hard to see big picture.
Yeah. And like my mindset was like this in my head, I was like, this might be the only summer I can ever do this in my whole life.
Yeah.
And God just pulled it away. And I was just like so frustrated, so mad in the moment because it's like, oh yeah, like Austin's going to be fun, whatever. But then it's like, that's not what I signed up for. And that's not what I spent a whole year preparing myself to do. And like, that was super frustrating.
Okay, so let's bring it back, and I think we'll be able to finish this up. Some takeaway, some lessons that you guys learned as interns or being part of a mission team that you would like for us to know.
Something that I went to Saturday like missions training this past Saturday, and something that I talked about was I'm blanking on it now. Actually,
Nice.
I actually completely blanked on it.
I could talk.
That's all right. Yeah. While Brian's recovering.
Takeaways.
Yeah.
So I kind of shared about this on like an Instagram post, but like this is like the long version. So I really learned how to love. And I learned how to love on kids. I learned so with love comes patience, you know? And it's hard when you're going in every day with the mindset of like, I'm going to do as much as I can to help these people. And then the people don't respect you and the people don't realize. So especially the kids there, they don't realize how much I'm putting in to do good for these guys, you know? And they're like, sometimes they don't want to listen. Sometimes they're literally making fun of you. And I'm just like, okay, like, I don't need this from you, you know? Like, why am I here, you know? But, and like, things are like not working out, it's hard. And I'm just like, this is not what I expected. Like, I don't know why this is happening. I thought, I'm the one making sacrifices here, so things should be coming my way. And I learned to like kind of fight through all that and have real patience. It's like my teen intern that I talked about earlier, Chris. I loved him, but he was very annoying sometimes to the point where he
Your intern, yeah.
Yeah, my intern. So so we had fun, but he didn't really know when to stop having fun. While we're praying, while we're talking about someone's like divorce or someone's mom not being okay, like he would be messing around. I'm like, dude, you can't mess around. He'd be like, I don't know what you're saying, dude. I go, I'm gonna keep messing around. And I'm like, stop. Like, but like, what am I gonna do? I can't hit him. I can't yell at him. Like, we're in the middle of prayer and he keeps like I don't know, like kicking dirt or something, like running around. And I'm like, hey man, like you gotta chill. So like through that, like I kind of learned patience through the members. Oh my gosh, telling a grown 40-year-old white man no is one of the hardest things to do. And like I haven't had to do that, you know? So the pastors are like, it's like stupid things. I'm like, they're like, hey, like we wanna put a water. Oh no. So one of the
Oh yeah, here we go. Yeah, here we go.
Dude, just make it short.
Let me tell you something. Sit down. All right. So I had a group, and I don't even remember the names anymore. But I had a mom who was a huge germaphobe, and like it was ridiculous. Like, so we have these things. We have huge water canteen things, and we fill them with ice and water, and we carry them throughout the day. And then
People drink.
yeah, people drink them, and we pour it into their water canteen, so it's perfectly safe. And she was just like, we get it and we pack up and we're going. And she's like, I'm not drinking that water. I'm like, what do you mean? Like, it's hot outside. You need to drink water. She's like, yeah, I'm going to drink water, but I'm not drinking that water. Like, do we have another water? And I was like, no. And she's like, how clean is the water? And I'm like, clean enough to drink. She's like, well, how clean? I'm like, you want a pH level? Like, I don't know what you're asking for. And she's like, I need to know if it's safe. I'm like, yeah, we're literally all drinking it right now. It's safe. And she's like, no, like, I don't trust it. Like, what do you do at that point? Like, you're gonna be thirsty. She had a 5-year-old kid with her. I was like, hey, like your son needs to drink. She's like, no, we're not drinking that water. So we're like, what do we do? So they had to wait until we went back, and then they got water from literally the same source. They just got it themselves, and she thought it was safer. And those things are just, I'm just like,
It's very hard to love.
it's very hard to look past that and be like, because I need to have that smile and be like, well, ma'am, but the thing is, so we don't have a lot of water where it's not safe. Like, I have to have the like customer service act the entire time.
Yeah.
And that's kind of hard because sometimes you want to like snap at people like, you're on a mission trip. Drink the water. You know, like literally, the kid you were just playing with didn't have any water. What are you doing? Drink the water.
Oh man, if you guys could see how his face changed.
Yeah. So those are things you want to say because a lot of times it's like you're at a mission trip.
Yeah,
Think about what you're doing.
you're sacrificing a
Yeah,
lot.
and they don't realize that, and even if they see like the kids that don't have any water, they're still taking water for granted. Be like, well, I want cleaner water. I'm like, what are you doing? So that was very. I guess I learned patience from that because Brian wants to keep it short.
Yeah. Off to
That
you,
was not
Brian.
short.
Hand it
That
off
was
to
the
you.
short version.
But yeah, so a couple of lessons or takeaways. I'm honestly still blanking on what I said on Saturday, but I'll talk about something else.
Yeah.
Nice, dude.
Dude, I'm just completely blanking.
It's okay.
I guess like dealing with teams, the teams that were coming in every week, learning how to like effectively communicate with them. I know like a lot of people who've been on mission trips with pastor, like when you're like obviously experiencing something like super deep, like God's trying to like open your eyes or open your heart to something, it's like super emotional to you, and like in a sense like God's like breaking your heart for like what breaks his, like even though it sounds cliche, like that's kind of what's happening. And like I learned how to like deal with those kinds of situations, which is like kind of crazy. It's like, you know, like one of my team members, like we were talking to this one guy sitting like on this little rock, and we just talked about like, I think he was like a senior, junior in college, high school. Like, hey, like what are your hopes and dreams? Like what do you want to do like when you grow up? And he's like, oh, I want to become an architect. I want to go to college, but like he doesn't, like he lives with like his grandma, I think, because I think his mom passed away and his like dad left or something like that. But it's like you're hearing this, and it like for one of my team members, it hit her. It's like, hey, like this guy doesn't like ultimate like grand scheme of things, like that's very unrealistic. Like him going to college, like becoming these things, and it's like, oh, like how come I'm blessed with like the ability to go to college and like the ability to like go after my hopes and dreams, and this guy can't. And like learning how to deal with that was like a big takeaway. Like learning how to like deal with people in a sense of like, hey, like this is like what God's trying to do, and like this breaks God's heart as much as it's breaking you, and like this is kind of why it's breaking your heart, why you're feeling these things. That was a big takeaway. I learned a lot of things. Kind of talked about community earlier, like that. Like I experienced like a sense of community that like I wanna have and I wanna chase after for like pretty much the rest of my life. with like finding like a group of guys or whatever. Yeah, and like obviously like kind of what Daniel said, like having that customer service attitude and like being frustrated with people who like, hey, like you're on a mission trip here, like you need to like make your sacrifices, you need to like do these things, and it's pretty hard. It's like
real.
It's like there's like if there's like a communication error with like something and like they're like snapping at you, you're like, hey, like this is such a minor inconvenience, like you're on a mission trip, but like learning how to deal with that, like having that next level of patience. I learned like how to deal with that like as effectively as I could, and like even like with the other interns, like having that like, because like what you find out is like people go there for different reasons.
Yeah.
And like if I'm here for one reason and this other intern's for a different reason, and we're trying to work together, or even just like being like in the same place, literally
there might be
living
some
with
conflict,
them.
right?
And like there's a conflict of interest, and it's just learning how to deal with that. And like something that's what we thought was funny, but it's actually like pretty like efficient or like effective is like learning doing what's
conflict
it called?
resolution,
Conflict
baby.
resolution.
CR.
Yeah, and like learning how to do conflict resolution the biblical way was like it sounded like a joke, like honestly, because like
sounds like a joke.
I've never even heard of that before, but then like actually like doing it in like some sort of way
You used it?
I didn't use it like word for word.
I used it.
I mean I used it as a joke word for word, but like using it like for real, like in like kind of
Do you remember?
Yeah, I mean I don't remember word for word what it was.
It was like the
I like
how does this? There's
can
two.
You hurt me in this way, like
Yeah, so
whatever
like
it is.
when it's like when you did this, I felt this way, and then and then you're like, I hope you know that I felt this way, and then there was like, sorry I wronged you. Like the response to that is like, sorry I did this. I hope continuing we can do this and feel this way about it.
It was very scripted.
It was we had a legitimate script and like use
And then to
that
memorize.
when anything happens,
Oh.
and yeah, like
Did it feel like
it's
very
super
detached?
awkward that like
Yeah.
with the girls it was very useful because like they like to hold it in and not talk about things. So I think the girls use it quite a bit.
Yeah.
But
the
I think it was helpful, like learning, like
Yeah.
this is what biblical conflict.
Instead of just kind of like brushing it aside or kind of sweeping it under the rug, you guys are able to like approach it
Yeah, just because
Deal
you have
with
to
it.
work with that person
Yeah.
the
day
whole
in
week.
day out. Yeah.
Yeah, and if you're annoyed with something that they do,
It's gonna affect
It's kind of
you
hard to be
later.
like, hey, stop doing that.
Yeah.
But if we have a
Yeah.
script, it's easier.
Yeah. Well, big takeaways, big lessons. I think a lot of things you can apply here, which is good. And so the final question that I wanted to ask, and feel free to take as much time with this one, is we got a lot of people that are interested in missions, whether it's here or abroad. Any words of encouragement or advice that you'd like to give them, especially for people that are kind of on the fence?
Yeah. So for me, something that I always say is something cool that I heard was, hey, no matter how much you work and serve, like God is always gonna do more through in you than through you. So if you're on the fence of going on missions, and the result of you going on missions, the result of you is you're gonna grow in your faith, and like I think that's like a huge reason to go. Like, hey, like you want to experience God in like a higher level, or like a deeper spiritual level, and like you want to become a healthy Christian while like having a lot of fun, while building relationship with his kids and building relationships with like your team members and stuff like that. And the result of all of this, like no matter how much you're working, how much you're like doing, like if God's gonna be working more in your heart through the Lord, like honestly, like why would you not do it? And yeah, and like have so much fun while you're doing it.
Daniel, you.
So why other people should go to missions?
Just any words of advice, encouragement,
Words
maybe
of
for the people
advice,
like you we
encouragement?
talked about a little bit earlier.
I guess to the audience that I'm speaking to would be like our church people, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Have you ever felt like you are antisocial and very introverted? Have you ever felt like you wanted to go out and do things but you couldn't because you're too awkward? Go to missions. Yeah. So like a lot of times people feel like they can't go to missions because they can't preach the gospel because you don't know enough. Like,
Yeah.
Oh, like if they ask me a question, I won't know. Like I can't pull verses out of my butt and tell them like I don't have that kind of knowledge. I can't preach. Like if somebody asks me, I'll blank out and then I'll look bad and I'll make Christianity look bad and I don't want to do that, so I'm just not gonna go. Well, I'm like, well, if you didn't have that conversation at all, that people would not have any. Those people wouldn't have any exposure. Those people, could have learned something from that. They could have seen like it's not. People don't become converted from that one conversation you have. People understand, like people when you talk to them about Christianity, when you talk to them and with a level of respect and with the level of like, hey, I know you don't like really understand or like you don't really agree with what I'm saying, but I'm just telling you this because it's impacted me in a good way and I want it to happen to you. If you say it with like that kind of attitude, it's much different. It's you plant a seed. And other people, the next person who talks to them about it, the next person who prays for them is, you're watering that seed. And next time they get invited to a church event and then they go to a retreat. And then at that retreat, they so happen that they get saved. That's when it gets a fully, like the fruit is there, but you don't get to see that. But it's those seeds that you're planting. And, and for me, it was the hardest things that I had to really, really maximize when I was at missions. Like public speaking. Talking to all the Korean American kids that can't speak for crap, man. It's so hard to, because you're a group leader, you're an intern, you're leading 10, 15 people. How do you talk to them and get respect from them? Do you yell? Do you shout? What do you do? You just, you gotta have confidence. You gotta let them know that you know what they're doing without actually knowing what you're doing all the time.
What?
Do you understand what I'm saying? You gotta fake it till you make it. But sometimes, things happen. Like you run out of water. What are you gonna do? And be like, well, hey guys, we're gonna get water soon. We're gonna get water as soon as we get back. Do we have water when we get back? I don't know, but probably I can work on that. It's fine. Things on the fly, and a lot of people, I think I've gotten a couple questions from people like, hey, like I want to go to missions, but I can't because I'm not as extroverted as you. Like, oh, like you and Brian seem like you can talk all day.
Talk all day,
I can't talk all day.
That's intimidating for some people.
Yeah, some people are like, intimidating. I'm not like that. Like I can't go up to a person and be like, hey, do you know about
have
God?
A conversation.
You think it's easy for me? No, it's hard. It's just as hard. But missions kind of forced me into it. So a lot of times, a lot of people don't like putting themselves into an uncomfortable spot, But that what I've learned this summer is that you grow the most from being uncomfortable. That, God says, Christianity isn't gonna be comfortable. It's not gonna be a smooth ride. People are gonna not like you. People are gonna be like, hey, like why are you doing this if you're a Christian? And these things just come up, and to fight through that and to still love those people, to have patience with them, to understand that they're coming at a place where they were raised a certain way and you were raised a certain way, to look past that and talk to them in a respectful manner. And I learned, so much about like we all. So this is people disagree with me, but I think the number one thing that people want is to be accepted. I think even because you can have, like Brian's disagreeing with me right now, but look, listen.
This is not answering the question.
I'm not answering you. Look, people just want to be accepted. You just got to give them that. And I learned how to try at missions. And I was talking to people, talking to a group of people, trying to get them to do something I wasn't very good at doing. But I learned it in Haiti, You're forced to kind of put in that spot. You're kind of thrown, in the water. You got to learn how to swim, it worked out. And even if it doesn't, even if you crash and burn, you got two other interns, you got another intern with you, and you're going to be holding hands and going full speed at it, and you learn the best that way, And I was like small group. Brian's even better now, but level of small group went from 0 to 100. I don't know. I always feel super cocky when I talk about this. Oh, I'm so good at small group now. What kind of person says that? But I don't know. I feel like I had really good small group time, way better than I've ever had before. Yeah. I don't know if it's because I spent every waking moment with them, but I felt this kind of closeness, this kind of comfort that I can share and be heard that I've never felt before. Yeah. And you really can't get that at a lot of places, other than when God's involved. And I felt like in Haiti, in missions, you really learn a lot of things because you're put in these positions that you normally wouldn't be put in. And so I encourage you to go to missions because you will be uncomfortable. But out of that uncomfortableness, you will grow.
Yeah.
And a lot of y'all, I'm talking to you, the listeners, a lot of y'all are going to go to college and be super awkward. And if you go to missions and you're practicing these skills, you'll be good. It will be better.
I like the part where he mentioned God.
Yeah.
I like the part where he mentioned God.
Yeah, but yeah, it's
Yeah. No, I think it's good because I think a lot of people, and I don't mean to maybe like tear people up, but in terms of like some people go because their friends are going, and there's like community, and there's like a sense of like ownership in that because your friends are going. It's like, oh, at least I won't be alone. That sense of like, if you mess up, at least you're messing up with your friends, and like that's okay. And I totally get that, especially if it's your first time going on missions. It can be a little intimidating, but like you guys mentioned, there's growth in kind of like the awkwardness or the uncomfortableness of being in a place that you're not familiar with, and that God challenges us, and he really does carry you, and you guys are living testimonies how God carries people like you and me through very, very rough parts and like difficult parts of our lives, both here and in a way. So yeah, I think that's a good take home message. Yeah, I'm probably the most real and most comfortable podcast I've had
and
since
long.
and long. Yeah, it's been here. We've been sweating a storm, y'all. It's been hot, and we've been doing this. But yeah, we are so happy that this is something that you guys get the chance to listen to. Please let us know if there's anything else that you would want us to talk about. Comment down below if you're listening to this on YouTube, or feel free to email us at rkkcpch@gmail.com. Thank you so much, Daniel. Thank you so much, Ben.
Follow Adventures in Haiti on Instagram.
Daniel Yoon with 3 O's.
Thank you, Daniel. Thank you, Brian. Thank you guys for listening. We love you guys. Bye.